I have reduced by 30% recurrent expenditure in this budget so that we can accommodate, we can live within our means, as I have said, and we can push more resources to the realm of development, to the realm of education, to providing health and doing the things that matter, including cash transfers to citizens. So I am very careful about how government spends.
How much was it used for your trip?
There are people who will answer those questions, but I can tell you from where I sit that the numbers being bandied around are ridiculous.
When President Ruto was interviewed by the Voice of Africa while in the US, he declined to comment on the cost of the plane that they used to the United States of America. I want to explain the U-turn because he has done a tweet just this evening about it, and also explaining here about why it's so difficult to break down the US deal. But before that, I am making a very humble appeal. Ladies and gentlemen, we in this channel, we have been supporting this weekend. We are running a very short and urgent fundraiser to support some families. These families you can see here, these are families from Mukuru, Kwaruben. So the houses were demolished, and after the houses were demolished, they were not given compensation on how they can move, and now they are stranded. So when I visited with some donations in form of clothes and some beddings, they confronted me the reality that even as you're giving us clothes, we don't have anywhere we can put our head. So the situation is very devastating. They've been forced to stay in the cold at night. So they lit bonfires and converge around those bonfires, and that has been the order of the day. Their lives are disrupted. Well, kids are also supposed to go to school and come back. So we decided this weekend, we are pulling resources to help this. So I'm shooting this video at 5:50 Sunday evening. I'm closing the fundraiser tonight. We are supposed to clock 100,000. The only deficit remaining now is around 24,000. And I'm reaching out to you. Kindly, let's participate in a 100 bob challenge. By the time we'll be closing the midnight, we should have really be able to clock this so that tomorrow, midday, I'll be able to support these families so that they can get alternative houses and their lives to pick up from there. Now, that is one thing I've been saying in this channel. Apart from the political analysis, we belong to this society. We belong to this country. So we are also part of the solution. And that was the brain behind Bold Charity Network. So kindly support this, and thank you very much for those who have actually contributed or rather have responded to this urgent appeal. I was saying here, the previous video, the president declined to comment about the trip, and he said that some other people will comment about it. But what changed that on Sunday, mid-morning, he did a tweet, and he said, fellow Kenyans, I have noted on concerns on my mode of transport to USA. As a responsible steward of public resources and in keeping with my determination for us to live within our means, and that I should lead from the front in doing so, the cost was less than traveling on KQ. I'm just wondering what's done this tweet. Is it William Ruto sitting tweeting, or it is the Dennis Itumbis? You can throw your guess. This one has been done by William Ruto himself, and I'll tell you why I'm saying it. So, this is what is happening. President Ruto is saying that the royal jet used will be less cheaper than the KQ. Myself, I insist, the machine the president was supposed to use is this one. This one you are seeing the screen was the best machine to use. And look at this. Mwango Capital have done a breakdown, and they say A KQ return business class ticket to Atlanta for 2 weeks from now on KQ costs 650,000. Say the president took 50 people on this trip, that would be 32.5 million. Then still less than half the cost of that will be 71. The other one that we were told is actually 200 million. The other one that he used is in the tune of 200 million. And you can look at this screenshot. If you look at this screenshot, there's specifically that part you're seeing, the business class is 361,000 per person. Now, you should not lie to us. While he was in Atlanta, he spent 2 days in Atlanta. So if he slept, they were only sleeping for 2 days, and they didn't sleep in that plane. They spent in very high-end hotels. And then apart from that, they also flew from Atlanta to Georgia. The fellows in Atlanta can tell us how much it will cost from Atlanta, not Atlanta to Georgia. They flew from Atlanta to Washington. So the fellows in the US can tell us. But I understand from the moment he arrived at the airport, the Secret Service took charge of his schedule, his security, and everything. And so the flight from Atlanta to Washington could have been clearly getting the nod of the White House. Then at the White House, he spent at the Blair House. So it's very clear. William Ruto is telling us that the plane he used will be less expensive than this one. But let me tell you, one reason for sure why William Ruto did not use KQ is not because of the cost. It's because he knew very well that they wanted the details of everyone flying to US not to be known. They didn't want the details. For example, the president can tell us that when he flew to US, he flew with 30. The report says that he flew with 30, but we don't know whether that is the truth. Because when he was going to the airport, the only fellows we saw there are Duale and Musalia Mudavadi. The other Waiguru, Rebecca Miano, there was only Murkomen, Musalia Mudavadi, and the First Lady, and him, 4. But while in the US, we saw ministers, Anne Waiguru, we saw the Anne Waiguru, we saw Soipan Tuya, we saw Njuguna Ndungu, the PS, David D. We saw quite a number. But at the airport, when President Ruto was living here, they were not there. So the reason why that private jet was used, clearly, is because they didn't want the country. In fact, the president should not struggle to explain to us how one is cheaper than the other. Just tell us, when that plane left JKA, how many people were in that plane? Just that. Then number 2, tell us what it costed the country to hire that royal jet from Dubai to the country. There is an explanation that the official presidential jet could be refueled 4 times. So it would have made 4 stopovers for refuel. But this one that was used, they only had a stopover in Spain, then they connected directly to US. So this is very clear. There is something we cannot run away from here. The cost is a problem. And if Ruto is just struggling to explain for us the cost of the jet, don't you realize there is a bigger problem? And the bigger problem is here. Government spokesperson, if you want to realize this is going to be a crisis to break down this KQ, this US trip, government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura was in Kisumu. And he attended some homecoming ceremony of Outa. Fred Outa was appointed as ambassador to Egypt. He was supposed to be posted in Egypt. So during that homecoming, government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura was trying to break down what the government has got from US. Remember, that has been their defense, that, if it was true that the cost of AKQ would be more expensive than that jet, then what would have taken government spokesperson from just explaining? The day he was throwing his hands, telling us that we should not complain because the money coming in the country from US is more than what has been spent, he would have just told us that, really, what you guys are complaining about, we've even gone for the cheap option. Just that. Just as simple as that. But when he was talking in Kisumu, he was actually heckled, and those people were saying something different. Listen to this.
Hiyo ndege ya rais wanasema, we don't even talk about it. The president has been able to secure close to 1 trillion Kenya shillings in benefits. Ya kwanza ni hii ya CS wetu ambaye ni mtendakazi sana, CS Owalo. Tumepata 3.2 billion ya kusomesha watoto wetu mambo ya kompyuta. Pia tumepata helikopta 16 ambazo zitasaidia Wakenya hapa. Kumbuka juzi kulikuwa na mafuriko kule Nyando. I even came all the way pale Kadhiambo, Kadibo. Tukapatiana chakula, tukapatiana blanketi. Na huyu MCA Pete Oiko. Wakati huo, asante sana Pete. Na huo wakati hatukuwa na helikopta za kutosha ili tuweze kuokoa wale watu ambao walikuwa wanapelekwa na mto. We have also got 291 million ya kusaidia prison zetu, 924 million, na naona chairman KMC, former spokesman Owino yuko hapa, Charles Owino, ya kusaidia polisi wetu. Tumepata 5.2 billion wale ambao mko na NGOs hapa ya miradi ya democracy, human rights and governance. Mnaelewa hapo, hiyo ndio kazi kwa nafanya kitambo. Pia tuko na 198 million ya kusaidia kujitayarisha uchaguzi unaokuja. Pia tuko na 561 million ya kupigana na ufisadi, na billion that is 472 ya kujenga barabara ya Nairobi mpaka Mombasa 6 lane, ipunguze masaa 10 mpaka 4.5 ili tuweze kuongeza usafiri wa nchi yetu ya Kenya. Pia tumepata 22 billion, karibu 23 billion, 22.8 billion Coca-Cola, ile soda tunakunywa, iajiri watu zaidi ya 3,000. Pia kuna billion 130 ya mambo ya Microsoft. Na mambo mengi sana hapo. Watu wa KDF wataweza kufundishwa katika zile academy za kule US, na pia kuhakikisha kwamba university zetu pia zinaweza kusapotiwa. Si hiyo ni maendeleo? And hii ni peke yake tu ile tunasema hapa. Mnajua tangu rais aingie hapa, hata bei ya unga sasa imekuja 100 shillings hapa. Na isipande, si ndio? Amepatiana fertilizer from 7,000 to 2,500. Tumezalisha zaidi ya 21 million bags. Unajua dola imeweza kurudi chini. Na pia CS Owalo hapa katika ministry yake ametusaidia. Vijana wetu sasa wanatumia AI, wanatumia kompyuta, wengi wameajiriwa kazi. Sio ni vizuri zaidi. Tukikuja hapa Kisumu, pia kuna development nzuri sana. You know very well, kuna shida ya maji kwenda Kubu hapa Nyando. Serikali itaanzisha tena ujenzi wa Soin Koru Dam ili iweze kusaidia kwa shilingi bilioni 25 ili tuweze kuacha kuwa na shida ya maji. Na nimeongea na mkuu wa utumishi wa umma, and that is the pipeline, na pia demu nyingine ile ya Magwago upande wa Kisii iweze kuchukua maji yote ambayo yanaathiri watu hapa. Unajua kawaida mambo ya ile mambo ya Mamboleo jet ambayo inatengenezwa kule Miwani. Pia kuko na Lake Victoria Water Sanitation Project 1.2 billion, na ile inajulikana zaidi ambayo president anapenda sana ni Kabonyo Fisheries ambayo inajengwa na 3 billion, already the first phase 1.5 billion. Mambo mengi tu ambayo yanatendeka hapa Kisumu, kama mambo ya marine school, mambo ya affordable housing, na tunashukuru sana county government kwa sababu ya kutupatia shamba. The construction is going to start very soon. Si hiyo ni maendeleo? Ningependa kuwaomba kwa unyenyekevu. Mimi nimelelewa kwa siasa zenu hapa.
And let me tell you, I am expecting Kenya Kwanza to go to political rallies and try to break down gain some political mileage with the US trip. I'm telling you, I've been following the speeches in the churches today. They camped in Rift Valley. No one is talking about the goodies from US. Everyone I saw regarded just praising Ruto for speaking good English. No one is breaking to the public, is breaking down to the population what exactly we got from US and what that means for Wanjiku. I am not seeing any attempt to make that explanation. And the biggest dilemma why Kenyans are rejecting the Ruto deal from the USA is because of these 4 reasons. Number 1, the corruption in governance is creating a trust deficit. Even as you are saying that you've received millions and billions of the dollars from US, the mama mboga down there is staring at you with disbelief because he knows that that money will go into people's pocket. It is not the first time that we are receiving aid. No, it is not the first time that we are receiving some support from the US. So the public understands well that Ruto's fight against corruption is low. Remember, just recently, there is a ministry where farmers were sold stones, and an attempt by the opposition to impeach that CS backfired under the state watch. So the public understands that much as you guys want to brag about the US, it's not about us, it's about you. And one of the reasons why they're rejecting it is the corruption menace. Number 2, there is no deal there that attracted relaxing the tax relax. You know, we've received some money, even there is a deal on affordable housing. There is a deal on some road construction for Mombasa Road. There is a deal on anti-corruption. There is a deal that some money going to ESCC and all that, and IBC and all that. So, what will the public understand? If you get some money from USA, then you come here and say, guys, I've got some money, so I'm going to stop borrowing, and I also want to reduce these taxes that have been depending on you. Then the public will say, okay, fine, there is something good in it for us. But why they're not getting it is, even despite of all those goodies you're getting, there is no sign of tax relax. Number 3, the white elephant projects are actually middle class. If we are going to, if that US firm is going to construct a dual carriage expressway from Mombasa to Nairobi, and it is going to be tolled at a fee, do you want to tell me that a hustler who wants to travel from Mombasa to Nairobi will use that route? Because if it is tolled, the cost of transport there is also high. As much as it saves time, but it comes at a cost. Will it be? No. I want to give you a good example, expressway here. Who is using expressway? Will you find Mama Mboga or will you find a hawker in expressway? No. The person who is driving a car is the person who will find an expressway. And that is why it will be difficult, much as you will explain, and it has very good benefits, by the way. It will reduce the cost of movement from Nairobi to Mombasa. Personally, I think if it is made, I'll make my trip to Mombasa through that expressway. Just driving from Nairobi to Mombasa, at least, hata sisi tujue how it looks. But then, how will Mama Mboga buy that? Is Mama going to use that road? No. So most of those projects, much as them, look at the military, the helicopters. Who uses those helicopters? I heard the spokesperson saying because there have been floods, there are problems of helicopters, and so they will be used in this. Who doesn't know that helicopters are falling from the sky with the generals? Who doesn't know that? There is a lot of problem. Lastly, I think there is lack of accountability on bid and take back. The public are not zombies. The public understands that we have been given this, but the question here is, what have we given in return? And if you just check social media spaces, what the Kenyans are saying that we've sold our soul to the highest bidder. Why? You need to explain what US is getting back. Some of which include setting up a military base in Kenya to accommodate their soldiers that are being chased from the West Africa. Some of which include tax waivers for importation of electric cars so that we kill the fuel cars. That is what the public wants to hear. If you're not going to tell two-sided story of the US, which government of the US trip, which government is not willing to do, then the trust deficit with the public will continue. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you and kindly support this project of supporting these women.
Na nataka nione ile kitu kinawezekana sababu for around 9 or 10.
Just 10.
Mimi kwa nataka niende nataka twende tuone hapo. Then if Mungu akikubali, you give me leo ni you give me 2 days. Then tunakubaliana, sitakupatia kwa mkono, naenda tunalipa. Sababu unaweza pata mama sana mimi anaenda kuongeza stock bado ubaki hapo. Mtu akuja aone huyu mtu mwenye kaza ndio pesa yeye akagisi hajahama. Sivyo? Yeah, so tutakubaliana. That is what we do. So guys, that is what we are going to do. This is very urgent. I've just felt this. Tunaenda kuona. Give me hata mtu mmoja 250,000. Tupatie hawa Monday, we come, we move them out, kila mtu aende kazi. Sivyo? Asante. Yeah, so, and guys, I'm talking to you guys, how the club matters. Yes, so that is what we're going to do. You see, these women here, they are 50. Now, wengine, not they're 50, they are 10, we picked 10. So, the only problem here is them moving out, kwa sababu hizo nyumba zimebomolewa.